Yes. Well, literally right there. Hey, everybody. Dan here with Steven Schinder and our one of our favorite returning offenders, Mr. Steve Hackett, who we're thrilled to have on and talk about this amazing new album. Oh my gosh, it's not out yet. It'll be out 11 July of this year. It is The Lamb Stands Up live at the Royal Albert Hall. And Steve, I got to tell you, I was telling my son, Steve, before we started, I finished listening to that album very early this morning, and I told myself I got to make sure this doesn't sound like a kiss ass show because it was overwhelmingly just so good. We get a ton of your solo stuff. We get a bunch of old Genesis gems. We
Yeah,
get celebratory stuff from the Lamb Lies Down on Broadway, which
yeah, yeah.
obviously you've been practicing for 50 years because it sounded great. It just it all was really, really good. The band just incredible. Like, wow, it's just so good.
Well, I'm glad you like it. My mother's 95 now, and I thought, how many chances would she get to see both her two boys on stage at the Albert Hall? So I invited John to do it, and we took it down a peg in order to do Hands of the Priestess, which was off my first album 50 years ago, recorded then. So in a way, it was a double. It's close to the anniversary of Lamb Lies Down on Broadway,
Right.
but it is actually, of course, the anniversary of Voyage of the Acolyte, my first solo thing. So quietly, that is in there. That's quite well represented with 3 tracks, and similarly, Selling Even by the Pound is well represented by 3 tracks as well as 3 tracks, a trio of things off of Circus and the Night Whale, the most recent one. So it was a hard choice coming up with things for this album, but I did feel that there was something special, and it felt like quite a night. My mother afterwards said it was the best concert she'd ever been to.
Oh, wow.
So I thought, oh, job done. Yes, that's what I want. So yes, I was playing to the crowd, but also to the person who was my first audience, and it was my mother when I was
Wow. How
trying to
sweet.
seduce her with my wonderful harmonica playing when I was about 4 years old. So yeah, there you go. The set list was a little different in those days. Oh, Susanna, Scotland the Brave, God Save the Queen. I could do those. Yeah, that was it.
Yeah, the last time we had you on our show, you talked
Yeah,
about your new solo album, The Circus and the Night Whale,
yeah,
and
that's it.
like
Done.
like you said, that's represented here pretty early on in the live album. What was the selection process like in terms of figuring out which of the new songs should be played?
Well, there are lots of things that could have been done from the album. It could have been done in its entirety, and I was almost brave enough to do that. But at the same time, um, I'm aware that an audience needs to be entertained rather than educated. So I don't go for those full on confrontations in the way that Lamb Lies Down, when it was new, was. A lot of people, even in those days, were looking forward to us playing old favourites. And of course, we hurtled into this 90-minute long thing, Lamb Lies Down on Broadway. And in some cases, the album wasn't even released when we were touring it in America at first. Yeah, politically a hot potato, but times change, and I wouldn't do that now. I would fight for a compromise and to say no. I don't think anyone needs to be that uncompromising about it. Well, that's the difference with me now. Hindsight's a wonderful thing. Say no, we're not going to do all of that. I mean, I do joke about it with the crowd sometimes, and I say, and now we're going to do the whole of Topographic Oceans, Whoops, wrong band.
People would
But I
love that.
guess you guys are Yes fans, so there we are, and nothing wrong with that. Just my little joke,
Yeah.
followed by The Wall, followed by Yes. But I think, would Yes have done that now? It doesn't really matter, does it? The fact is, it's done. Historic decision. That's it. Do you want a best of, or do you want, undiluted? Here we are, undiluted, confrontational, young guys. We can do what we like, etc.
Yeah.
It takes quite a bit of confidence, I think, from a young band to be able to do that. They're all great albums in their own way. All the albums that I've mentioned, I like to think.
Sure. I don't want to spoil it for everybody with the track list. Let it be a surprise when it comes out. But I do want to say that the tracks from The Lamb Lies Down on Broadway are absolutely the best they've ever sounded. I mean, Nad Sylvan's voice I listened to this whole thing drop jawed, seriously.
Yes.
I mean, so good. He's so on top of it, let alone the rest of the band. And Craig's drumming is just, I can't wait to have Craig on again. I mean, what a gem you have in Craig as a drummer.
Yeah, no, he's fabulous. And they've all been great. They are an extraordinary band. Oh my goodness, it's a United Nations of a band. We have people from different countries in this thing. Yes, there are some Brits, but the Swedes have been brilliant players, and some people are switching countries. Rob has moved to Denmark, so he's taking up Danish citizenship, and Jonas, who's Swedish, lives in Vienna, so he's in Austria.
Oh my God, Jonas's bass playing. Is he playing a fretless a lot of the time?
Sorry?
Is he playing a fretless a lot of the time?
Up there. I'm not...
Oh, sorry. Is Jonas playing a fretless?
He might have frozen, I think.
Oh no. Uh-oh. Am I frozen?
Let's hope that it'll unfreeze, and then I'm only forgetting what I'm saying, but
right. Yeah. Well, he was asking if he was playing a fretless on there.
Yeah. Was he playing a fretless, did you say?
Yeah.
I don't think he was playing a fretless on this show. He was playing a double neck at times, and he's also playing a Variax, which models guitar sounds. He also plays bass, of course, the Rickenbacker bass. He thunders with that thing. I mean, I've never heard anyone play so fast. I mean, he plays the Bach piece, cello Suite No. 1, at lightning speed on the bass, and it's in the same register as the cello, of course, the thing that it was originally written for. But he doesn't hang around when he does that. He's an extraordinary virtuoso. So yes, it's extraordinary.
Yeah, hopefully I'm unfrozen. If not, Steve, you could translate for me. But his playing was amazing. You mentioned your mother being there. Aside from that, and aside from it being in your home country, is the Royal Albert Hall still a magical place to play? Like, do you think of all the iconic shows that have been there over the years with another artist? What's it like stepping onto that stage or into that building?
I have to say, I've been on that stage 3 times in my life. Each time I've said to myself, oh, it's just another gig, but you cannot get over the fact that it's so famous, and just every great performer in the world at some point, it seems, has been on that stage. So you better be good. So the pressure is on.
Right.
And I said during my first announcement that I was very nervous about playing there, to a sold out house. But I said that, but in my heart, I really love the place. So the answer is, you've got to own it. You've got to be it. Don't dream it, be it, as they say. And I felt that I was riding a thoroughbred in a very important race, and don't fall off the horse or don't fall off the wire. But I was so keyed up for the thing. It's easy to screw up. It's easy to not be at peak. That's the challenge. But it's a monster venue. It's very beautiful. It's very lovely, and it's not even remotely modern. But somehow, with the baffles that have been put up, those mushroom-shaped things in the roof that dangle from the top, they've cleaned up the sound a lot. Because back in the day when I saw Johnny Cash there, it was booming around like crazy. You know, it was sounded like gunshots going off.
Wow.
I guess it was designed for orchestras, and I'm sure orchestras would have sounded lovely, as an orchestra would sound lovely at St. Paul's or the Vatican. But for a snare drum, that becomes a gunshot every time. So
Right.
um,
Well,
it's a great venue. It was always a boyhood dream to play there. I think I've got a feeling I said that in the sleeve notes, but it was iconically, it was something to aim for.
yeah. The
It
album
was,
sounds great, and I'm sure you had wonderful people working on it, but the
yeah,
venue had to contribute to the sound. It really sounds
yes,
incredible.
it did, and Chris Lord Alge did a great job mixing it as well.
Yeah.
Um, he made it sound very live. Um, wow, yeah, I mean, each live album has got its strong points. I mean, the one that he mixed, the one that we did in Brighton, the one from the previous time, a couple of years back, um, that sounded really, really, really good. I mean, the other day I just put on a track called Can Utility and the Coastliners,
Hmm.
and it's all live, and the band were right on it, and it sounds brilliant. I have to say, it's the best version of
Oh, wow.
that very difficult piece to play, very difficult to play. It's got no right to sound that good, but it did.
That's great.
Um, I think Chris uses a lot of compression and
Mhm.
I guess compression, brightness, whatever that magic is that he weaves, and does a great job. He's worked with everybody, um, but he happens to be a fan as well, so somehow that's great.
Yeah.
The walls of his studio are lined with the extraordinary trophies. It's like, who hasn't he worked with? Elton John. I think it's the Stones, Tina Turner, blah blah blah. But it just goes on and on and on.
Yeah.
Wow, that's
And
great.
Yeah, yeah,
and you've mentioned The Lamb Lies Down and Voyage of the Acolyte both
yes,
turning 50. When you look back
yeah.
on those time periods and the making of those albums, what comes to mind? And is there any particular memory that fans may not be familiar with?
Well, I think that Lamb Lies Down on Broadway. Um, when we were recording that, we were in a place called Headley Grange. Now that place had been a workhouse. I don't know if you know what a Victorian workhouse is, but for the poor,
Hmm.
they literally worked them to death. That was it. The idea that you should be punished for being poor was something that seems unthinkable now.
Right.
Although I suspect things have turned full circle politically,
Mm,
but at that time, um, Led Zeppelin had been in there recording, and
Right.
I do believe that's where they got the drum sound that is so famous for being the first really live drum sound that
Yeah. When the levee breaks in the foyer there.
that sort of thing. That's
Yeah.
so um, the idea was we were going to record drums there. It timed out we had to get out of the place because in our wisdom, we were doing we were doing a double album, and so we had to go somewhere else in order to finish it off.
Mm.
and that was to another half-built, not derelict place. Headley Grange was derelict and arguably haunted. At this point, towards the end of writing The Lamb there, I was washing my hands in a sink upstairs, and I just moved back into the door jamb, and the whole of the floor gave way, leaving the sink stuck on the wall.
Oh,
If I'd have
wow.
been a second late, I could have gone through the floor.
Wow.
And something told me to move back. So, whether that was the ghosts or ghost of departed souls in anguish or not, I don't know. Jimmy Pace thought the place was haunted. He had a room at the top of the stairs, and funny enough, I had that room at the top of the stairs as well, and it was very difficult to get to sleep. The noises were extraordinary all night long, but I think that was probably the rats scurrying up and down this kind of internal, not really an air conditioning system, but these sort of ducts they had with a grill over them, and my God, it was loud.
Wow.
But I know that he said he thought that he saw a figure at the top of the stairs, and so the rest is kind of fiction meets mythology meets another rock and roll story, and who knows? Obviously Jimmy was very into the occult. I became interested in spiritualism. I had some wonderful experiences as regards that. So I am a believer in a continued life. I do believe in continuity, and I do believe that spirits can occasionally visit us in some form or another. I've had experience of some of that kind of thing, and it's quite heartening, actually, rather than spooky. The idea that we might actually all continue on. Lennon was probably right. We all shine on like the moon, and the stars, the sun and the stars, whatever. I think he's right on with that.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for sharing that with us.
That's
What
right.
what's it like performing The Lamb and the other songs from before that I don't want to give away, but what's
Sure.
it like, performing them now in your 70s compared to when you created them in your 20s? Like, obviously you've been practicing a lot because they sound great. So you've had 50 years to really, but like, seriously, what is it like playing that music now?
I played to the crowd. I did a re-record of one or two of those things over time, both live and also in the studio. So you got me here. I'm trying to figure this one out. It basically feels great to do it, but my point is that it's for the crowd. I loved doing a re-record of Chamber of 32 Doors because on the original, I wanted my guitar to sustain on like the vocal, some of those vocal effects. And these days, because of the Fernandez guitars, you can hold the note and it will sustain to the end of the life of the battery. And so to be able to do that was my contribution to it. In other words, yes, this is how it should have sounded. Those are, funny enough, there's just a short burst of phrases at the beginning, but they're quite difficult to do because they're not in time. I'm deliberately playing out of time. It's frustrating for drummers, so I need to be ahead of the beat and then come in time, and most of the time it comes off because I think those were some of the most melodic phrases. When I did the re-record on Genesis Revisited #2, I kicked off the album with it, but started with nylon guitar bubbling away, and then the guitar on that, and we used real strings, and but we also reversed the strings as well, so they were playing backwards and forwards at the same time. So you got a symphony orchestra's worth of heavy duty, beautiful strings.
Interesting.
Because I felt that so much of the Genesis stuff from those days was classical in spirit, but being played on early keyboards. So,
Right.
Tony, I always thought of a natural born classicist, really. And so it's no coincidence that he went and did some albums with orchestra in his later years. So I've always been a bit of a kind of orchestral or classical groupie. That's me. At one point I was following around orchestras going, I want to be a part of this. I want to do it. I want to record you guys. And in some cases I did. I've been offered some orchestras recently. And you just think to yourself, well, hell, logistically, how do I fit that into the time frame, the financial considerations,
Right.
all of it? And some of them are really, really great orchestras as well. So it's terrible. It's a bit like, well, when you were a kid and you thought you might just get that wonderful teddy bear or that robot, but it was just out of reach.
Yeah.
In the shop window. Yes. Let me in the candy store, and I will return you great things.
Awesome. And I love how
Yeah.
you're taking advantage of technology without like changing the music, if you will. It's like it's blossomed more. It's beautiful.
Try to honor it, the spirit of it,
Mhm.
occasionally with some different guitar parts, but in the main, because there was an insistence in Genesis that the solos be written. They are part of the song, and for instance, when I was recording something like Musical Box, which isn't on this album, it seemed completely wrong to go off on one. The only way it works is something like Supper's Ready. At the end of Supper's Ready, if you do the iconic phrases and then go off on one, which is why I give myself license to do that live.
Yeah.
So
That's great.
I try and get every last ounce of creativity out of myself. And I realize I'm probably playing too long and it's indulgent, but on the other hand, it's my party and I'll play if I want to.
We want that. We all
Yeah.
want
Good.
that.
There we go. Yeah.
Yeah. One last question, and then
Sure.
we'll let you go. So I
Thanks,
have the vinyl copy of Live Magic at Trading Boundaries
Oh,
here.
yes, right. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great record. Reviewed it on the show. So from what I understand, it contains pieces from recordings of different shows. And I was
Yes.
wondering, are there any
Yeah.
pieces that did not make it onto this live album
yeah.
that could appear on a future release?
Well, that's possible. The thing about this is we were doing shows for about 15 years at Trading Boundaries,
Yeah.
which is a small venue, but all sorts of people have played it. I mean, really well-known bands have played it. And people you've heard of, believe me.
Yeah.
People that have done arenas have played that place. And I'm very pleased that people liked it so much, because I thought this is just a document, just a thank you to the people that show up. But it seems to have been more than that. These pieces, some of them I haven't written. It's my interpretation of these other pieces. There'll be occasional classical pieces in there. And interpretations, unplugged versions of Genesis stuff. but the trio that plays it, solo trio, duo, it all works very well, and up to quintet when Amanda joins us. So it covers quite a wide base of. It's a very broad church, as they say, but it is all acoustic. So there's no tyranny of volume. You cannot fall back on a power chord. It's about the notes rather than the lightning, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, absolutely. It's beautiful. Great.
I'm glad you like it. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. We know you have other stuff to get to. We want to be respectful of your time. We so
thank you so much.
you.
Yeah, I got it's been a busy time. I've been recording today, but it's lovely to talk to you both, Dan, Stephen. That's really great. Thank you.
Great.
Yeah,
thank
thanks.
you.
We enjoyed talking with you.
Okay, good luck.
Yeah, thanks.
Well,
Thanks everybody for joining Stephen and myself with Steve Hackett, and we'll see everybody soon. Thanks, everybody.